And we are back with another big match preview. I am joined by Mike. Long time no see. How are we doing?
Yeah, I'm all good, mate. How are you?
Good. Yeah, very nice to be back on with you, mate. It's been far too long. You've been smashing the TikTok live for us, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm on there most weeks.
How are we doing follower-wise on there now?
Just under 13k, so 12.9.
Doing the good Lord's work for us on there. So, guys, if you haven't already, of course, go over to our TikTok, follow Mike, and see all the crazy things he's putting out on there on a regular basis. And of course, there's a link below in the description to get on the All Leeds TV merch. Mike, show everybody what you're wearing. Get your tits out. Go on. That's lovely. So merch on there that you can get your hands on as well. Sorry, I didn't decide to dress up because I didn't get that memo. But obviously, filling in for Oscar tonight. Oscar is not going to be with us over the weekend, but hopefully, I think he is watching. So let's try and offend him as many times as we can in the space of the next half hour. I'm sure it will.
Well, we're on time, mate, so it's all right.
Exactly. So we actually managed to get a stream up and running before 9 o'clock when we said to people it would be going live at past. So result to begin with. So Mike, first time I've spoken to you, I think, this season. So I'm going to get a little bit of a catch up from you. How do you think it's been going so far? Give me your thoughts on the transfer window. Give me your thoughts on the first few games. And generally speaking, from what I remember, you're quite a positive guy. Like, how you think it's going to go? Tell me how you feel.
I'm always positive and optimistic. Obviously, it's like mixed bag. Obviously, we started to slow in the transfer window, which did cause a lot of worry for a lot of people. Yeah. But patience is what they said. We will attack it strong, and all that, which I think near the end we have done. We've improved in areas that we've definitely needed to. Obviously, we've got Darwin, which is like a backup keeper, which I think will do Meze well. New right back in, which is essential. Rondon in as well, which will help whoever he partners with. And you got 2 extra midfielders as well as Gray as well, which could in theory count as a new midfielder as well. You've got obviously like Yampadu as well, who's done leaps and bounds over anybody else. Piro as well, which I still stand by, he's like the best striker in the league. So we've improved in areas that we've needed to. So, and we still got fair play.
Exactly, mate.
I had to get that in.
I'll be honest. I don't still have Firpo. Don't tell my missus, but we have. Well, she knows, but she's heartbroken. We had to get rid of the kitten last weekend because unfortunately it's now grown too big and it's trying to eat the other one. So it was a good 6-month experiment, but she spent most of the time injured, and we actually did manage to sell in the transfer window. So different story, but obviously we'll touch on the real Junior Firpo as we go through because shock of shocks. An international break has come. We thought he was going to be back and ready to start after it, and he's injured again.
Yeah, I did see that. That's just typical Firpo, isn't it? He'll come back, have a two games, and just be injured again. So
it's a shame because I'll be honest. I know I blow a different trumpet to most people on the Junior Firpo stuff. I have faith at this level. He could be a really good left back. But I mean, at this level, it isn't a great compliment. I'm not saying he's Roberto Carlos, but he could do all right at this level. Maybe we didn't need to go out and sign a world-class left back just yet. But obviously, if we get promoted, we should do. But yeah, injured again. So same thing as people will talk about the people going out. And I'm going to ask you as well. Obviously, one thing that we did have during the course of the international break was the Angus Kinnear interview. What did you make of the stuff that Angus said? I thought he played it well this year. I think he's done a good deal of diffusing the tension, taking a bit of the heat out of the sting that was maybe being aimed at him by just saying a few things well placed in the right place. But I'll be honest, he's a really good politician, isn't he, with these interviews? He doesn't really answer a question at all. He just says what he has to get out there, and didn't really throw anyone under the bus as much as he could, even though Radrizzani's still obviously thrown his toys out the pram regardless. But I thought there was a couple of interesting things that he said in there. The main thing being, though, that I think he did cover himself quite well. And maybe that's taken a bit of the sting out of the situation with him. So my position on him is I'm okay with him to a degree now. I don't mind him disarming me by apologising to me. It's fine. At least I've got an apology. But what did you make of some of the stuff that he said?
I mean, I've not listened to any of his interviews in the past. This is the first time I've actually listened to one. I did think it came across well. Obviously, we saw the whole blow up on Twitter, blaming the contract situation, which that's neither here nor there. It's done now. You know, they were there, they were put in place. They chanced it. It didn't work. And I think what he said, when he said if the 49ers come in sooner, we would be in a much better position now than we would have been last season.
We already knew that, though, didn't we?
Yeah, I just think he got to a point where last season was the last straw. It wasn't going to go any further. We just knew that it was on the decline. Obviously, we all had hope. Well, I definitely had optimism, but it was just, you knew it wasn't going to end well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I thought he did come across quite well.
I think the season before he pissed me off because maybe he didn't intend it to come across the way that I heard it, and a few people I heard, obviously, that I'd spoken to about his interview felt the way that I did, which was I felt like he just kind of threw shade on Bielsa at a time where, just don't say anything like that, where he was kind of hinting that Bielsa thought he was bigger than the club, which at the time, let's be honest, some would argue probably was bigger than the club.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he threw a few comments last season with his interview, which I didn't think did him any favours. But this year, I think, handled it really well, paid the respect where it had to be paid, didn't cover too much of the... I thought he could have easily protected Victor Orta and Radrizzani a little bit more than he did, but at the same time, he didn't fully throw him under a bus, which would have been nice. But obviously, you understand. And I had respect for some of the stuff that he said about like Bamford and Firpo, about these are our players. I'm not going to, as a custodian of the club, just sit here and absolutely bash them. It is my job to back them in public and support them, whether I agree with how they're playing or not. So I did have a lot of time for some of the things he said, but there was still a few chuckles along the way where I was pulling my hair out saying, you've just answered a question that completely contradicts an answer that you gave about 2 minutes ago. Well, we weren't aggressive, but we were aggressive. We had enough quality to stay up, but we didn't deserve to stay up because we weren't good enough. Well, which is it? But yeah, fine, let it go. Hopefully it diffuses things. And I actually feel like, obviously I flashed up a comment a minute ago from Nige just saying our season starts on Sunday. I actually feel a little bit like, thankfully, with, the transfer windows out the way now and all the bloody headache that's gone on around that, the Angus Kinnear interview, for me, kind of draws a line under an entire era in Leeds United's history. I kind of feel like that Bielsa chapter, for me, is now finally finished. I felt like it wasn't finished when Marsh came in because Marsh was the wrong appointment. Yeah. It was like that question became worse because it was answered so wrongly. And then it was answered even worse with everything that came after, Gracia and Allardyce. And I feel like now Farke seems like the sensible place where we should have landed 2.5 years ago when we were thinking of getting rid of Bielsa. And now we've landed here. We've finally got him his squad in place. He's confident with what we've got. We've had a bit of a training time with the players because we've been on international breaks. Obviously, some of those players have been away, but there will have been chance for him to work with this squad. I think Sunday away at Millwall is hopefully the first time where we get to see like a proper Daniel Farke squad. Hopefully we see Farke ball or whatever that's going to look like. Yeah. Ipswich was obviously very good. And I like the way that we played, but obviously we've lost Cine, a big one since then. Be interested to see how we get on Sunday, and obviously away in London, so that does come into it as well. But do you feel like that this is the first game of the first big test of the season? I mean, September is September. Nothing won or lost in September. But is this where we can actually start to show who we are and where we're going to be in this division?
I think it's going to be hard to say it now just due to the fact that you got, 3 games in the next 6 days. So you can't... And obviously, you've had international breaks. You've had people being away. Kamara, Gruev has been away. Notto's been away. So you've not had the full team to get used to it.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say it starts on Sunday. I think it will be not like kind of like a pre-season game for the warm-up. And then you got the Southampton game end of the month and then push on the month after.
Yeah.
That's how I'm looking at it. Just due to the fact that we've had people away, we've had people been injured, coming back from injuries, back off again. We've not got a full squad, but way that Parker said in his interview, he's had a strongest squad that he's had to work with, which he prefers that dilemma, saying that, sorry, you've not made a squad than having 3 keepers on the team and still not being able to fill the bench. So the way that he's spoken about that is positive.
Yeah. So with the press conference, I felt like Farker, to be honest, he handles these press conferences so well. But today in particular, I felt like he really gave so little away. He told us obviously the tiny bits of injury news in Liam Cooper's back, Sam Byram's back, Junior Firpo's not back, Patrick Comfort's not back. The shocks of the season. Dan James, I think, is fitting with the squad, but obviously some have seen the announcement as well. Obviously, Jed Spence not meant to be involved this weekend, so that could be a huge miss. But what did you make of what Farker had to say? And do you think that we're going to see any big changes at the weekend? Do you think, and I'm focusing mainly on that midfield thing that he keeps talking about with Archie Gray, and obviously now we've got those 2 new guys in. Do you think that maybe an Archie Gray could be that main change, or do you see any other changes at the weekend?
Well, he did mention that Gray had a bit of a knock, so it's kind of why he didn't go on the international breaks. But personally, I'd start him in that game because you've only had Kamara and Gruev since Wednesday, I believe he said it was. And obviously Kamara's not been playing any preseason for Rangers, so he's not up to match fitness anyway. But I don't see him starting at all. If anything, it would be Gruev that would start. But I would say that he's going to keep those midfield pairing the same, especially for on Sunday, and then on, is it Wednesday we play? He would then mix it up a little bit. That's how I would see him doing anyway.
Okay. So, I mean, let's have a go then. Let's do some predicted lineups and see where we get to. So, you're looking like you've not even thought about this, and I've just sprung it on you like some sort of massive.
I did originally, but I haven't got around to doing it yet.
Good. Well, you'll do it with me now. So, guys in the chat, if you want to play along and let us know who you think is going to be involved at the weekend. We'll start with the goalkeeper. I'm assuming there's not going to be any big debate here as to whether you really want Carl Darlow thrown in. No,
absolutely not. Not after the cup. I know it was penalties that he messed up on. But just for me, the way that Messi is playing at the moment, he seems more confident on the ball, like coming for crosses. I do believe the new goalkeeping coach has done wonders in that small amount of time. So it's got to be Meslier.
And obviously, first clean sheet for a very long time. Last time out, hopefully he can follow it up and get back-to-back clean sheets for I think the first time in God knows how many years, like 2 years.
I think was it 5 clean sheets in 50 games or something like that.
Something daft like that, not far off actually. I think it is bang on that. So let's go back 4. And obviously, I originally, when I was talking to Oscar and writing down my back 4, didn't know that Jed Spence was out. So I
didn't either
already. So I was desperately disappointed to hear that. But obviously, right back, I'm going to say I would imagine it probably be Ayling. Ayling will captain the side. I would imagine Rodon and Stroik to continue as the centre-back partnership. And I think Byram, hopefully, if fit, will go back in at left-back, which means I think Jamie Shack might struggle to get in this side, even though he's been probably the best player. But
I would put Sam Byram on the right, keep the 2 centre-backs, and then put Shack's left-back. Drop Ayling, but put Shack, but no, not Shack. Byram right back, Shack left back.
Yeah, I mean, I'm I'm definitely on board with the suggestion. The only thing for me is I just don't see it being realistic. No. You know for a fact Ayling's going to start. He's going to wear the captain's armband. So
that's why I even think if Spence was fit, like I didn't even know that until just a minute ago when someone put it in.
I think. Do you think the only reason that Ayling has been in the team so far is because Cooper's been out and there's no one to wear the armband? Is that the only reason? Because form-wise, you wouldn't keep him in, would you?
No. I mean, unless you're going to change who the vice captain is and put it on, say, Ampadu, Stroud.
Yeah, Pascal's worn it whenever Ayling so far this season.
So unless you're going to put it change your vice captain now and stick with that throughout, then do it.
Yeah. It's a shame. I mean, in terms of form, I don't see him recovering the form, I'll be honest, but he hasn't been great so far this season. He's probably looked like our only real weakness in some of these games where, generally speaking, we've looked solid. There's been a couple of games where he's been kind of the only thing that's let us down. So, yeah, I think hopefully he recovers the form, but I wouldn't mind seeing Byram at right back, but it does appear that Farke is basically using him solely as an out-and-out left back. And, yeah, Mark seems to think that Farke maybe would change his captaincy without the issues, no problem. But we'll see, won't we? Fingers crossed. Yeah. Who are you going for? Let's go for the midfield 2 in the double pivot. I'm going to assume that it's for you just Ampadu and Archie Gray.
Yeah, that's what I would do. I mean, unless, because I don't see either the other. I don't see Kamara being fit for 60 minutes, unless he's been out and out.
While he was on international duty with Finland.
How many minutes did he play though?
No, I couldn't tell you.
Because I think one of the games he came on.
Yeah.
One of the games he came on off the bench.
Yeah, I think he came up for the last half an hour in one of the games.
Yeah, and then got an assist. But I can't remember about the other game.
No, me neither. And Gruev obviously was playing minutes, but out of position minutes for Bulgaria.
Left centre back.
Yeah, of a 3. So you reckon it's going to be Ampadu and Archie Gray then?
Yeah, that's what I would. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I actually plumped for Kamara. Steve Brown gone the same here as well. I actually think he might be tempted to give Archie Gray a rest, especially if there is still a niggling knock.
Yeah.
And I think if he was going to go for one of the two, he'd probably be more likely to go with Kamara just based on the experience. That would be an experience heading the side. And what is he, like 27? Generally just sort of becomes one of the older statesmen of the team. A couple of comments in the chat just asking, obviously, Liam Cooper is fit. Been named as possible to be involved at the weekend. Mark asking, does Liam Cooper deserve to come straight back in just because he's captain? I think I can probably guess what your answer is going to be here, Mike, but I'll let you go for it.
So as much as I like Cooper, I do think that Rodon and Strauch have formed a decent partnership. I know it's only a small clip of what's been. We've only played 5-6 games, so it is hard to say, but I don't want to see Strauch left back.
No.
The way that he's playing at the moment, I don't think you can drop him. So, no, I'd have him on the bench, maybe play him on Wednesday.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree with you. I don't think you can drop Pascal at the moment, to be honest. I think he's probably been one of, if not our better players so far this season. He's actually, compared to, for me, he's had a difficult time the last year and a half. Yeah. Him in particular, along with a couple of others, but it's really knocked his confidence. I'd say that year we finished 9th in the Prem, he looked like he was going to go on to play alongside Virgil van Dijk for the Netherlands, be a £50 million player, and he's just looked the shadow of that player for the last 18 months. Whereas, don't get me wrong, he's nowhere near being back on that trajectory, but he's definitely stopped the plateau so far this season and got himself back on a solid partnership. And just because obviously club captain, there are always bits of I don't like the word liability with Liam Cooper, but when I do think liabilities with Liam Cooper, I think of fitness. I think if you do throw him straight back in and he gets the armband, you do risk just injuring him straight away. I think maybe it's fine to have a player like that in and around and leading the squad without necessarily being on the pitch. And obviously, if we manage to somehow take a lead, which this season would be a fucking miracle, maybe late on in the game you send him on to help see out the win. But I wouldn't be so desperate to throw him straight back in from the start, especially when that centre back pairings began to look like one of the strongest parts of the teams. So yeah, good question. Thank you for sending that in. So obviously we've covered the back 4, the midfield 2. And I was interested today in one of Farke's responses where he was asked about who he sees as the number 10. And I kind of took his answer to say that we're not going to play a number 10, so there's no point asking me this question. That's how I kind of felt he answered the question, in that he was saying we've got a creative player that you would normally class as your 10, but they play from wide areas. So I think, in a way, I'm not going to call it penis ball, but I think it is kind of a little bit penis ball. We're back to 4-2-2. That seems to me what he was sort of hinting at. Or you've got two wide forwards, and maybe two wingers, whatever you call them. But then after that, you've got two essentially strikers, but neither of them are actually full-on nines, and neither of them are tens. They're both 9.5s. So I think he's trying to tell me that we've basically got back to penis ball. It's 4-2, wider 2, inverted 2. So you've actually got the shape of the bell end in the penis this time. But I think it's penis ball again, but it's just fark penis ball. I
don't mind that. I don't mind as long as Piero is up top, and then you got someone just off him.
Yeah.
So you play Ruta just off him, or Joffrey, which I don't think is up to standard. But I think he was either praised too much or he came on too fast. So the Norwich games or whichever games it was, he came on, done well.
Yeah.
And then he was shipped out on loan last season, which I know some Sunderland fans do like him, what he's done there.
Yeah.
But unless you're going to give him,
that wouldn't have him back, to be honest.
Yeah. So unless you're going to give him a run of games consistently to build up his confidence and stuff, I do think that some of these players are confidence based, but I would have Piero and Rutter up top.
Yeah. So let's go with the wide areas, and I'm going to come back to the front two just because I want to talk about how I felt it went at Sheffield Wednesday last time out for the international break. But on the wide areas, Dan James is back. Obviously, Sinisterra is not here anymore, but we've got Jaden Anthony instead. Don't know if he's going to be. Doesn't sound like he's injured or anything, so I assume he's going to be available and with the squad.
Yeah,
those two into the mix with Willie Nonto and Somerville. Poveda can go in there. He was name dropped again in the press conference today as someone specifically more 10-like. But who's your two wide players then?
I would probably stick with Somerville and Notto first.
Yeah. And
then you got Anthony's come off the bench, who, again, I don't know too much about him. I've watched some clips over the international breaks, what I can, but watching like YouTube channels and stuff like that, you just can't go off a player. No. So trying to find like old games and stuff, he has done well in what I've seen.
Yeah.
I know a lot of Bournemouth fans rate him and rave about him, but I would have him on the bench start off with, coming on in 60th, 70th minute. Especially if we're chasing or drawing, he could be the difference.
Yeah.
But I'll stick with Willie and Somerville.
I don't blame him. I'm exactly the same. I've gone Nonto probably left, Somerville right. I think, Anthony, no problem off the bench. I'll be honest, I have seen plenty of Jaden Anthony just because I watch a lot of football, but mainly because they were in the Premier League not that long ago. So I've seen him play in the Prem this season, so many times already. Did okay at this level when he was getting Bournemouth promoted. Not set the world alight in the Prem, but big leap. For me, and I know people will slate me for this, but bearing in mind, Dad was on this show last time I was presenting it, telling me that Dan James should be captain in the future. So I don't think this will go down anywhere near as badly as that. But for me, if we're not winning the game with 20 minutes to go and we haven't made a sub yet, I wouldn't be bringing Jaden Anthony on before I brought Dan James on. I would look at Dan James and think that guy's more of a weapon at this level to go and test the championship defence. Don't get me wrong, he's not out and out number 9. He's not fucking brilliant, but that pace at this level will scare people.
Pace.
Jaden Anthony, maybe a better all-round footballer, perhaps. So for debate, no guarantees, but nowhere near as quick. But who is? So for me, I would definitely have Nonto and Somerville on the wings, and I'd probably be looking at Dan James and Jaden Anthony as impact players off the bench for now, but it'll be interesting to see what he goes for. And then obviously you alluded it to yourself, it'd probably be most likely to be Pirro and Ruta that are those front two at the weekend. But obviously against Sheffield Wednesday, we saw Pirro dropping into more of a 10 role and then Ruta playing more as a 9, where I don't think it takes a genius to say it makes more sense to most people if that's the other way around, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think I don't know if he was experimenting or what. It just seemed like it was a trial and error to see because I'm sure he's come out and said that he sees Rutter as the number 10.
Yeah.
But you've just brought in Pirro, who is been in that position, scored over 40 goals in the last 2 seasons. He knows where the net is. Having him drop that deep just doesn't work.
Especially if you're going to be playing, and we don't know how the game's going to go at the weekend. I can't see Millwall sitting back and being as defensive under Gary Rowett as Sheffield Wednesday were at Ellen Road.
Definitely not.
They're going to be the home team, but at the same time, there is probably going to be a difficult defence to break down there. I just don't see Pirro at 10 and Rutter at 9 being the way that we actually get a goal that this weekend. And with that strike partnership and that kind of setup, can you see us scoring first for the first time this season at all?
Oh, I'd love it. It's my wedding anniversary, so I'd love nothing more than a win. And then it's my birthday on the Monday, so...
Well, so we know for a fact they're going to let us down then.
Yeah. I can probably see us scoring first. I just think it just depends on what team sets up and what the first 5-10 minutes are going to be like.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think it'd be nice to see us just take an early lead and just cruise it out. But I am very much that pessimistic Leeds fan, harking back to travelling away to Millwall and being used to getting absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Let's go on. Let's go ahead. Like, guys, if you want, you can get your score predictions in. I'm going to ask you, Mike, what you think is going to happen at the weekend. And again, hoping for a positive response from you. So I'm going to expect a positive response from you. And I will get mine in first because mine isn't positive because technically I'm pretending here for the sake of show business that I think we're going to keep a second consecutive clean sheet and it's going to be a 0-0 draw. We'll come away with a point. But really, I actually think we're going to lose because it's Millwall away and we just lose in London, don't we? But go on. You tell all the people watching that something nice is going to happen and see if they believe you.
I mean, like I alluded to beforehand, we've only won 4 times away to Millwall. And last time we beat it was 2012, I'm sure it was. It's 2-0 Leeds.
Good. So I like it when you lie to us. That's great, Mike. Thanks. So a couple of good, completely different there in the chat. We had a 3-1 Leeds from Mark, 3-1 Millwall from Gary, a Desmond 2-2 from Nige. I mean, I'll be honest, and you probably shouldn't say yes to this question because we're Leeds United and we should never say yes to this question. But would you take a point away at Millwall?
Considering the history, yes. But considering
but not because of how good a team they are.
No, I don't. Yeah. No, I don't. They got a couple decent players, like Fleming's decent, and a couple of other players, but I don't know because we're
players. Is Steve Morrison still there, or who've they got? Neil Harris in charge. I have no idea.
If we're fighting for first or second place or playoffs, even we need to be winning the games now. We've had a slow start. You saw what happened at Birmingham, what happened at Cardiff. We can't be doing that. We can't be dropping points so early on and then having to go on a run at the back end of next season.
Yeah,
we need points on the table now. Yeah.
I don't think a point away from home at Millwall is a bad result. Don't get me wrong, they actually had a pretty decent season last season, narrowly missed out on playoffs, and they look good at times. So I don't think they'll be up there this season, but at the same time, I'm not taking into account the quality of the opponent when I'm saying I think a draw away from home is a good result. Seeing a couple of 2-2s in there now, 1-1, but for me, I don't think anything could be better for this side at the moment than to keep improving the confidence in the goalkeeper in particular.
Yeah.
But obviously that back four, if we could keep a second consecutive clean sheet away from home, you'd have to go back until probably that 9th in the Premier League season before you could find a point in time where we kept 2 clean sheets in a row.
Even then.
So to be able to have that under their belts, I think it'd be a huge result. And then obviously, for me, the next monkey off the back has to be scoring first in a fucking game. But I can take that going on hold again this week if it means that we can keep another clean sheet, get a point on the road, get back to Ellen Road, and start looking at getting some points. Obviously, we're away again, actually, aren't we?
Yeah, away to Hull.
And then we're at home at the weekend after, so that's fine.
Yeah, and then away again to Southampton.
Yeah. But fuck Southampton. We're not skipping that far ahead, but we've got Hull away in midweek and then Watford at home on the Saturday. Yeah. So I've got the tickets, thankfully, for Watford at home. So I'm back. Had to miss the last one, but looking forward to getting back there. So where are you going to be watching the game at the weekend, Mike?
My sofa, probably. Which
is definitely closer to the den than I am, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm not getting anywhere near the den either.
Itch.
Guys, if you are obviously watching with us and you're traveling down for the game, I mean, good luck, because obviously that 12 o'clock kickoff is there to help us all traveling to London on a weekend. But obviously, yeah, if you're traveling down, safe journey. If you're watching us on your way down there, let us know in the comments, smash a like and do all the usual, subscribe to the channel and everything. Fingers crossed there's going to be far more content going out over the course of the weekend. Have a look over on Mike's TikTok to see what's going on. Different bits being popped up. I imagine there'll be clips from this one of me saying something stupid that I've forgotten already. That
possibly.
Goes most likely. Can you get something in about where we bullied Oscar at the beginning?
Try.
There we go. But yeah, otherwise, guys, won't keep you any longer, Mike. Thank you very much for your time.
No worries, mate.
Lovely to see you again. And thank you all for joining us. Smash a like, subscribe to the channel, and enjoy the game at the weekend. Fingers crossed for another 3 points, or a point if you're pessimistic like I am. But smile and wave anyway, Mike. Say goodbye.